I've been asked to do a video on the installation of a light over the table on the King Mill. I already have this light installed. It's been installed for quite some time, but I'm going to go through the steps of how I did it and how it's installed. Well, first of all, let's take a look where I drilled the holes. Now, the toggle switch, if we measure down from this radius down to the center line of the toggle switch, that's 1.6 inches. And if we measure from this radius here on over to the center line of the toggle switch, that is 2 inches. Now, right below the toggle switch, we have a screw here that holds the lamp in place. This is a 1024 tapped hole, and it is measuring from this radius up here again and down. It is 3 inches down and 2 inches over, just like this other hole. So that gives you an idea of where you drill your holes. There's quite a bit of leeway on there. There's a big hollow spot behind here, so you're not going to hit anything. Here's the light bulb. It's centered in this fairly big hole underneath here. Now what we have to do is figure out how far it is from the center of this light bulb on over to the cast wall on our left. So we're talking the distance from the inside of this cast wall over to the center line of that bulb. And I'll show you some rough measurements I took on that. Well, here's a sketch of the light bulb. Here we've got the wall of the mill, the cast wall, and right here this would be the round hole the light bulb sits in. So from the center of the light bulb on over to the inside of the cast wall is 2 1/8 inches. So in order to get our light bulb to fit in there, let's say we have a light bulb that looks like this. This one came with this bracket on. If you have gotten one without this bracket, you could easily make your own bracket up. It's only thin metal. A little bit of bending to do, and then you'd be all set. Now this bracket is not far enough away off center to make up our 2 1/8 inches. So we have to add to this or create a new bracket. I'm not about to replace this bracket because I want to use this light for something else. So let's assume we've got the right distance here, our 2 1/8 inches from center line out to here. And what you need to do then is drill and tap a hole in this for your 1024 screw that's going to come through your cast wall. And it'll come up against the cast wall and it'll be in the right spot or very close to it. Now there are a couple of things that you need to watch out for. You've got some lamp cord here, and we want to make sure, let me get the plug here. We want to make sure that the live side, which would be typically a black wire, this side, the larger of the two prongs on this, is the negative side, if you want to call it that, but it would be a white wire. So what you've got to make sure of, this is connected to, see if you can see inside here, see that copper right at the bottom? The small end of the plug should be connected to that, because this should always be, we can call it positive. I mean, we're talking DC when we say that, but I like to refer to that as being the positive or the black wire. So you need to find out which of these wires actually would be our black wire. And that's kind of important. You wouldn't want to get it wrong and perhaps shock yourself. And I can explain that. Now, this part of the bulb is the ground. This little point on the end is where the black wire goes. This is the white wire side. Now let's say that you walk into your workshop and you turn your light on that's under the mill and nothing happens. So you think probably it's the light bulb. So you go to take the light bulb out and you happen to touch this little edge right here with your finger. If you don't have it wired right, that is the black wire. And if you're grounded anywhere on your machine, if you're touching the table or the vise, you're going to get a shock. So that's the reason why I say make sure your black wire is going to this and not that. I've got a multimeter here and it's set up on the ohms. And we've connected the black lead of the multimeter to this wire, which in turn goes to the smaller of the two prongs on the plug. That is your black wire side. Now to check and make sure that this is wired properly, I would take now my red lead and touch this copper piece in the bottom. And if you can see there, we have pretty well zeros there. There's a small amount of resistance. If we had it connected incorrectly, when you touch this, you're not going to get a reading at all on that meter. So make sure you know which one of these is the black wire, because that's the wire that you're going to be snipping in half and connecting to a toggle switch like this one. So here we've got our toggle switch right here. When I flip that, the light comes on. We're wired right. We have the cover open on the mill. We're looking down from the top of the mill. These wires you see here, now one of them is an existing wire that was here when you purchased it. The other one is from my light bulb, from the fixture. Now if we follow those around, we'll find another hole here. This hole was already put there for the original wire, but there's plenty of room to put your wire through that comes from your light bulb. So we'll go down now and show you where the box is that we were looking at before. And here on the other side is the wire coming down and going into the connection box. So that's how you would route your wires. And to wire the box up to your wires, or the wires to the box if you would, first of all we need to unplug the mill. Here's the plug for the mill, and it is not plugged into the wall. This is our wire from our lamp coming down here. We've already removed the cap off the box. Here's the cap off the box, and these two plugs go onto these two here, and I have just unplugged them so we can get this cap out of the way so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. So this black wire here is one of your lamp cord wires, and it can go directly to these other black wires which come from this plug which goes to the wall. That powers your mill. So this black wire can go with the other black wires that come off there. Now we don't want to take the white wire and connect it to this cord at all, because we're going to get 240 volts and that's not going to be good for the light bulb. So basically this green wire represents our neutral. So we'll be able to go with the white wire on over to the neutral. We're going to put one of those little eyelet fittings on here and connect it where that screw is right there. You can see the screw? That's where the green wire goes. Now that connection now with the black wire to the other one and this white wire over to the green one, that's going to give us 120 volts, and that's going to be okay for the light bulb. And I'll do that right now. On the end of my white wire, I use one of these connectors. Now I took the blue plastic off because things were so tight in there I was having a problem getting it in. So we've installed our white wire coming out from our lamp cord, which is right here. We've installed that to this connection right here. Now the black wire coming from our lamp cord comes down through here and connects to these other two black wires. That's the black wire coming from the supply cord to power the mill. My lamp wire is probably a lot fatter than yours is going to be. I had some of that stuff hanging around and it looked just like the other stuff, and I thought it might look nicer. But you really don't need heavy duty wire. Just lamp cord is fine. I can't see you plugging anything in or using a light bulb that would draw more than an amp, so the lamp cord will be just fine even with a 100-watt light bulb. Now we have to reattach this thing to these two plugs right here and here. And then we can put the cover back on.